On this side, I replaced it with a cheap one, trying to be cheap, and look what happened. Already broke. That's the cheap one right there. So I replaced the cheap one with the Bosch one. So now we Bosched up over here. We got Bosch on both sides. First thing I have to do is remove the intake manifold because I have to put an engine support bar in front of the motor to support it. We're making some progress. Oil pan back on, torque down. Now, gotta put the front subframe back on. I got the subframe up. Check it out. Yeah. On this episode of Home Wrenchers, I'm excited because I finally got some parts for the E30. Remember I told you I had to remove the front timing case cover and change some gaskets? Well, the gaskets came in and I'm excited. So, check it out. There go the gaskets, right there. All that time I've been waiting for these two little gaskets. Come on, man. Whatever, they here and we about to change them. But since the motor's on the stand, I have to change them a different way because I'm not about to take the motor off, put a flywheel on, put the locking pin. I ain't got time for all that, so I'm gonna do it another way. Alright, so after you remove the Jesus bolt, then you remove the 572 bolts that hold the timing case cover up to the block. Then you get a puller. I got a 22mm socket. I put it in there. I twisted it and it just comes off as such. So that comes off. Bam. Then you gotta scrape off the old gasket on each side. Put that on there, put red RTV, and that's it. But got the lights out. The street lights is on. And it looks like I'm about to do that tomorrow. So I'm gonna holler at y'all tomorrow. Now this is the BMW Jesus bolt, aka the crankshaft bolt, aka 350 foot-pounds of torque bolt. But anyway, here it is. Now, in order to get that off, normally you have to take the motor off the stand, put the flywheel on, get a flywheel locking pin tool, then you can get it off. But the motor's on the stand, so I have a trick to getting it off with the stand, which is you grab two pieces of wood, bam, bam. Then grab your wrench, 22mm, you turn it on the crank, you lock those two pieces of wood in place. Once they're locked in place, then you just zap away and it should come off. And there you have it. So it's another day. Got the timing case cover off, got it cleaned up, got the new gasket installed, got two more gaskets that I got to install on it, got the motor over here. So now we just got to put everything back together and that's it. I'm using black RTV sealant instead of red because I do not want to do this again. Alright, so I got the black RTV, gasket maker, oil resistant. This is the timing case cover, so you're going to need something that's oil resistant. So what I'm going to do is put some all back here, lay that down. Do the same thing on the other side, lay that down. Then on the block, I'm going to put some and then put the timing case cover on. And I'm doing this because I don't want no oil leaks. I'm not trying to do this again. So I'm using, you know, a little extra RTV. Alright, so I got the front timing case covered, installed, bolted down, torqued down the spec. I believe it was 5 Nm, which is 44 inch-pounds, but I did 45, so that's installed. I did that. I also installed this gasket, changed that, that's brand new. Also, I put assembly lube on the timing chain guide, so upon startup we don't have any problems. All this is buttoned up and done. Now, I just have to install the cams and then do all the timing stuff, but I ordered new lifters. So, I'm waiting on the lifters. When the lifters get here, then I'll finish the rest of the motor. But in the meantime, I think I'm gonna start doing something on the E60 because my fuel gauge doesn't work, so I'm gonna do that. So that's up next. It was late night, I checked the front door. VANOS rebuild kit came in. So I figured I rebuild the VANOS. Got the VANOS right here, kit right there. I don't care what time it is. Let's get it. I already took these screws out, so these are loose. Now the signs of a bad VANOS, real quick. See all that wiggling, all that? How it goes in and out easy? Not supposed to do that. VANOS is out. Alright, so tips and tricks. First bolt, you put it on the vise, but you put it up here. You put the wood up there on the vise, hit it with the gun, normal thread, take it off. Bam. Then you put it back on the vise on the bottom right here with the wood holding from the piston down there. Then the same thing, but this is reverse thread. So the wood's holding that, it's reverse thread. You hit it with the gun, bam, then that comes out. Alright, so I got the VANOS disassembled. I got everything laid out the way it's supposed to go back. I got the new VANOS seals right here. I got the old ones off. I got this new ring I gotta put on. Old one right here. Now everything is in reverse. I also want to put some assembly lube on these, so when I put them on, this should be a little easier. Let's get to it. Alright, so I got the VANOS back assembled. I put this on the vice grip with some wood, hit it with the gun. That's tightened down now. So now, all this is back together. The gear's on, everything's on. Now you just slide this in here, as such, and voila. So there you have it. VANOS repair kit installed. It's late. It's time to go to bed, y'all. I'll let y'all tomorrow. Well, remember yesterday I was telling y'all about the fuel pump on my E60? Today we about to fix it. So in order to do that, first thing you gotta do is get access to it. The fuel pump is under the seat, so you gotta pull the seat out. So there's little tabs under it, you just pull up, and it's out. Then you pull this back, and voila, access. Fuel pump and sending unit. 4 10mm screws on each side, 4 and 4. Let's get to it. Before you do anything, make sure you disconnect the battery first. When dealing with fuel or electrical, make sure you disconnect the battery first, unless you want to turn into static shock. Alright, so I got the stuff out. This is brand new. I had changed that. That's new. That's Bosch. So that's going back in. On this side, I replaced it with the cheap one, trying to be cheap. And look what happened. Already broke. That's the cheap one right there. So I replaced the cheap one with the Bosch one. So now we Bosched up over here. We got Bosch on both sides. If you don't know, Bosch is like OEM parts for BMW. So now it's time to install it. So now you get the new pump, you run some chicken wire on it, all the way around through to the other side, so you can pull it up on the other side. Alright, so everything's in. I started the car's running, everything's on, it works. And there you have it. Fuel pump install. That's it for this episode, y'all. Peace. Gotta get that out without breaking nothing. That's the hard part.